Hello and welcome to Killer Conversations, Episode 3. My name is Steven, and I'm joined today by my lovely wife, Sean.
Hello, welcome everybody, and we're so glad you're taking this journey with us again. Few things to discuss before we get started. Steve, you ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay, so last episode I said a bad word. Yeah, I said hell, and I got in trouble by Steven. So I promised I wouldn't say hell in this one.
Well, you've done broken that promise.
And I read today that a man he was identified after robbing a store by his Bugs Bunny underwear.
Okay.
So
I've
now,
never heard of anybody getting busted because of their underwear, but
yeah, so now all of you robbers, criminals out there, do not wear Bugs Bunny underwear. I'm trying to help you out here. You will get caught.
yeah, let's go and help out the robbers and the criminals.
Mm-hmm.
Good job,
We
buddy.
we invite everyone here.
Okay, but I do have one thing to go over with you.
Okay.
So we told a little bit about ourselves in the last 2 episodes, and we discussed like who our favorite, YouTubers were, who our favorite creators were. So
Yeah.
today I have a question that gets asked in almost every scary movie. And
Okay.
since, we talk about some spookier stuff, I want to tell our audience what our favorite scary movies are. And I'm going to let you go first.
Okay, but here's the thing. Anytime that's asked in a scary movie, that's like the next, victim. I'm not sure I want to answer this.
Nah, it'll be all right. We'll risk it for the biscuit.
Okay. So I think my favorite scary movies are the Conjuring movies. And I want to do a few episodes on Ed and Lorraine Warren and um their cases. They're so interesting to me. So if y'all would like to hear those, let us know down in the comments and let us know what your favorite scary movie is as well. Steven, what's yours?
Well, I'll agree with you. The Conjurings they're pretty good movies. Mine's going to be a little bit different than yours. I see how yours is more you know, the ghost type stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
something that could actually happen.
Joker. So mine is I really do like the Scream and the Halloween franchises. Like I like most of the movies in them, but if I had to pick a movie, and this just might be because it's only a couple of years old, I really like the Thanksgiving movie because it made me think. At no point during the movie did I figure
No,
out who it was. What
no,
was
no, no,
wrong
no.
with that? What was wrong
That
with that
movie
movie?
was sick. Whoever came up with that has a messed up mind.
Oh no, the deaths, they were very gory. I will give you
They
that.
were gruesome.
But oh, they were extremely gruesome. Don't let your kids watch it. But it made you think during the movie, like, who could this bad guy be? And there's more to it. I saw the rumors that they're making a part 2 possibly. I hope it's true because I
Because
think they're
there was two. I'm telling
I
you, there were two.
I I agree. I think there was more than one killer. And then, well, I'm not gonna spoil the end, but I think there was more than one killer, kinda like how Scream was. Most of the Scream movies, there's always that other killer.
A
Like you might
psychic.
get yeah, you might guess one of 'em, but you're not gonna guess the second one. It's just some random person. It's like, why? But yeah, that would be mine. And like she said, go ahead and comment down below what your favorite one is, and let's discuss them. Tell us why it's your favorite, and we'll let you know what we think of it.
All right, are you ready to get started? Tonight's case is another great one.
All right, let's go. So one thing before she does start, for the people who haven't seen our other videos, we go into this with me being blind. I have no idea what we're talking about. I don't know anything about the case. There's probably a 1% chance that I have even heard of most of these cases because I don't watch documentaries. I don't watch true crime stuff. I'm a nerd. I watch tech stuff. I don't, watch this type of stuff. So she's going to do 99% of the talking, and I'm just going to be up here like, whoa, okay.
Okay. All right. And if you hear anything in the background, guys, we have kids. It's Friday night. They are not in bed. We are human. Okay. So
And
tonight
editing
we're,
can only go so far.
especially when you've got three girls in the house.
Yes.
All right. So tonight we're taking a little road trip. We're going to start in Connecticut and it ends in Florida. And along the way, we're going to talk about a devastating case of the Todt family. Um, I'm going to be honest, I hate cases like this. They're heavy, they're heartbreaking, and they stay with you long after you hear them. But I also believe they matter as well. Sometimes telling these stories can help someone recognize warning signs or remind them they're not alone. And it keeps some of the victims in the, it keeps the victims in the forefront because they are what matter. Tony and Megan Todt were high school sweethearts, the it couple, the pair everyone else admired or secretly wished they could be. You remember that couple in high school, Steve?
Yeah, I think every high school has one,
Yep.
two of those.
Yep. Always that couple you look up to like, oh my God, they're so perfect.
Yeah, nothing will ever. They'll always be together. They'll
Right.
never break up. Yeah.
Yep, that couple. Tony was Megan's first everything. Her first kiss, her first boyfriend, her first everything. They both went on to Sacred Heart University. Both earned their master's degree in physical therapy, and both were described in almost the same glowing terms. Anthony, or Tony as we're going to call him, was known as good natured, the kind of guy who didn't seem to have a mean bone in his body, class president, well liked, easygoing, you know, just that perfect guy. Megan was described the same way, warm, a calming presence, the person who showed up when you needed help, kind hearted to her core. And it kept coming up in my research just how calming of a presence she was and how open and how she was there to help whenever needed. And after college, they got married, ready to build the life everyone assumed they were destined for. Their first child, a baby boy named Alec, arrived in 2006. And that's really where our story begins. Tony and Megan settled into a small town in Connecticut called Colchester. It's one of those places where it's small, everyone knows everybody, but it's close enough to the big cities. Like you lived in Colchester, but you traveled to the bigger cities to work. It was one of those towns. The pace is slow, the neighbors wave, and the biggest excitement is like a fall festival or a parade. And Stephen and I, we come from a town like that, so we definitely understand the small town aspect.
But yeah, that's where we came from before we moved here. You grew up in a small town like that. I grew up in the middle of the mountains. There was no town. It's just trees and rocks, some hills.
Yeah, there's a road going up the side of a mountain with a straight sheer drop off with no guardrails. It's really scary. Um, it. So I looked it up. I looked up Colchester, and it looked like the set of like a Hallmark movie. Charming, cozy kind of town. The place that I would fall in love with instantly. So,
But yeah, oh yeah, someplace you'd fall in love with. You said Hallmark movie, and I
yeah,
was like, well, I don't even know what that looks like because I changed the
because you
channel
won't
when
watch
those
the
are on.
movies with me. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not watching that.
So life seemed good there, safe, predictable. Tony and Megan eventually had three children, Alec, Tyler, and little Zoe. Megan started out working in the family physical therapy practice, but as the kids come along, she chose to stay home, as most mothers want to do. They want to be there to raise their children. And I've been lucky enough to have it, to be a stay at home mom and now to also be a working mom. Yes, Stephen and I both have a 9 to 5 job that we're not millionaires yet. We haven't hit that lottery. Um, but she was the kind of mom who was always present, school events, activities, everything. Megan was there. She was there. Tony, meanwhile, became the physical therapist in town. People praised this man constantly. They trusted him, they brought their kids to him, they recommended him to family and friends. He was the go to guy, the one everyone said had healing hands and a kind heart. One of those doctors or physical therapists, when you go in, they just listen. Like, they don't try to rush you out. You're not just a number or appointment in their book. He was one of those. His business was doing so well that, in fact, they opened a second location in Colchester. From the outside, the Totes look like a picture perfect family, living a picture perfect life in a picture perfect town. What do we know from picture perfect families, Steve? What have you learned so far about picture perfect families?
Well, there's no such thing as perfect, and a lot of these picture perfect families that
Mm-hmm.
we see in these cases are they're just making it look like everything's perfect on the outside, but on the inside, it's chaos.
Yeah. And, in fact, one, the wife or the husband, I'm not going to just say the wife, but maybe they don't even realize it. Maybe they still are in that delusion that it's picture perfect, you know,
Yeah,
and
they've
every,
possibly got used to it, and it's just like, well, this is normal. This is what it's supposed to be like. So this, to me, this is perfect because this is what I think it should be like.
right.
But that
Yeah.
doesn't mean it is picture perfect. Just means they have gotten so used to it, or like you said, they're just delusional to it.
Oh, yeah. As we know, and as you're going to learn more through this podcast, looks can be deceiving, very deceiving. On the outside looking in, Tony seemed like the perfect husband, the perfect father, hardworking, successful. He was a kid soccer coach, the kind of dad everyone points to and says, he's doing it right. He knows what he's doing. Megan's so lucky to have a man like Tony. You know, I know how you men talk. And Megan looked like the perfect mom. She homeschooled the kids, cooked with them, and I mean, even used ingredients from her own garden. You know, that's an accomplishment right there. It was that kind of life that a lot of people dream about. You know, so. But as we all know, what we see on the outside isn't always how things really are. Or in simpler terms, the grass is not always greener on the other side. In 2017, the Totes sold their Colchester home and moved to Celebration, Florida. The real reason for the move is still unclear. I looked and looked, and it just it wasn't clear. Tony says it's because during a trip to the Magic Kingdom, Disney World, that Megan was bit by a bug, by a tick, contracted Lyme disease, and the Florida weather was better for her health. Is that the truth? We don't know. But that's the only thing that I came close to finding a reason as to why they moved to Florida. Now, so Celebration Florida, Steve, it was originally developed by Disney. So you can imagine the vibe. It was like walking back into the 1950s. Picture perfect, manicured lawns, so charming. It's even said that they played bird chirping noises through hidden speakers around the town. Like that type of town.
Think I would just bring some birds in to fly around.
And yeah, so you know me, I want that Hallmark type life. I want that picture perfect community in that town but forced perfection?
Yeah, you're
I
trying
don't
to
know if I
make
can
it.
handle it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're trying to make it seem perfect. Like I was saying, you're pumping in birds chirping. Like, why? Just make the place nice enough that actual birds come there and they chirp. That's what they do. Like, why
Yeah.
would you need
Oh my
speakers
gosh.
and all that? And you're making it up like, the 1970s, which is fine, and it looks really nice, but, like, you don't
50s,
have to
Steve.
try to, or
50s.
sorry, 50s, whatever. But, like, you're trying too hard to make a city look perfect.
You remember when we went to Disney? And I'm getting off topic, I know, but do you remember when we went to Disney and the birds? Do you remember Nick asking? He wondered how they got the birds to fly around and
Yes.
chirp. Like,
Yeah, he thought they were
yeah,
animatronic birds, and they were not animatronic birds. I looked
it's
at him and
Florida. They
said,
were birds.
"Buddy, that's a real bird, it's flying."
That was so funny. Yeah, like
It
they,
happens.
had birds, just mechanical birds, just flying around. Okay, so, but you got to remember, even after this move, Tony kept both of his physical therapy locations in Connecticut. So during the week, he worked up north, in Connecticut, and then he flew home to Florida every weekend to be with Megan and the kids. While he was in Connecticut, he bounced between staying at his mom's house, hotels, or sometimes he even slept at the office. Okay, so I'm not about to give the devil his due, but that has to be exhausting. I mean, like, that's a big trip.
Yeah, that's a huge trip. Like, that would be really hard to, you know, do it that way. I don't understand why you would make such a trip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I to me, I would think, sell your both practices there and, you know, open one up in Florida. But yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's what I would
So,
see somebody doing, is just open it up in Florida and just do it from there. Like,
yeah.
why travel like that when you can just do it all from there? I mean, maybe he was making enough money at both of them to, make the difference. But I
Mm-hmm.
think even at that point, if you were just going to have two practices, why not just hire a doctor, or, to be at the one while you do the other? Like, have a staff
Right.
for
Yeah.
both, and,
That
and
would make
just,
sense. Yeah.
yeah, just be over both practices, but not have
Mm-hmm.
to visit the one as much.
Yeah. So, you know, by 2019, the family decided to sell their condo in Celebration, Florida, or they decided that their condo was too small that they had in Celebration. They didn't sell it. They rented a larger house nearby, but they kept the condo for visiting family and friends, so they would have a place to stay when they come. Um, like I said, I'm not a genius, and Lord knows I never pretend to be, but all this just seems kind of like a lot. The constant flying back and forth, juggling two states, two lives. I feel like that would wear on anybody. Um,
Yeah, while
but let
taking
me,
care of people at the same time. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
that's got to be tiring. Just from the
yeah,
flying by itself that's tiring
hmm
enough. Like, I don't see how anybody could be okay doing that.
yeah. But let me be very, very, very clear, crystal clear. That does not excuse anything this man did. Not
I have
even
no
close.
idea what he done so far. So, there's no excuse for any, like, I'm guessing things are going to turn very bad. So there's no excuse
They
for
always
any
do,
of
or this
that.
wouldn't be a case.
I know that. Well, it wouldn't be a conversation worth having. I mean, her family
Yeah.
has two doctor's offices. They're rich. The end. That's not a good story.
Dude,
Yeah.
no, no,
So
definitely
I,
not.
I, I do expect this to go bad, but like you
Yeah,
said, there's no excuse on how tired or stressed or, whatever. If this goes negative in a way I think it's going to go, no, there's no excuse for it. I don't want to give away my
yeah.
opinion on what's going to happen. I want to
Because you
see
don't
where
know
this
what's going to
goes.
happen, fool.
No, I have an opinion though at this point, but like I want to hear it. I think it's going to be extremely sad, but I do want to
Yeah.
hear the rest of the story.
Yeah. So I also want to add that Celebration Florida is super close to Magic Kingdom, like practically in Disney's backyard. Because of that, you will often hear people refer to Tony as the Disney dad, and it honestly it fits the image he projected. Fun, involved, always smiling, like he was having a good time. You know that perfect Disney vibe? Yeah.
To
So it kind of
Disney,
fits.
and all I'll tell you is it was a lot of screaming kids, a lot of parents yelling at their kid to come back.
Miserable.
Yeah, just sitting there like, oh my god, and it was like 110 degrees, so it was so
Oh
hot,
my god, so
and
hot.
all
So
the
hot.
dads, they would be like 50 of them in a line waiting to get a Bud Light. That's all I remember from it.
Guys, I'm not even gonna lie. I was so excited to drink my way around the magic or to Epcot. I was gonna drink my way around the world. I found out I was pregnant with baby number 6 2 days before we left.
It's
So
not even a joke. We came up with her name on the way to Disney.
we did. We did. We picked her name on the way to Disney. So yeah, I didn't get to drink my way around Epcot. It was heartbreaking. Okay. So now they've sold their or no, they've kept their condo, but they moved into a bigger house. He's still flying back and forth, back and forth. But around this time, people started noticing like a shift in him. Tony began to gain a lot of weight, and his patients saw a change in his behavior. He was more hurried, more frantic, like really scattered. Um, he took phone calls in the middle of appointments, something completely out of character for him. He wasn't paying attention. He wasn't giving his patients that one-on-one personal care that they had come to love from him. It was like he was constantly juggling something behind the scenes. Then came November 21st, 2019. The feds show up at his office.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, big time. They were investigating unethical and illegal business practices, and what they uncovered was bad. Tony was drowning in debt. He had been defrauding Medicaid and private insurance companies, billing for services for patients that they never received. In one case, an insurance plan was billed for 55 appointments in 7 months, and the person wasn't even a patient. So, yeah,
To anybody
he
listening
was
out there, everything he's doing, you're not going to get away with it. The government just don't let you take money.
no, no. They frown upon that. So, and don't wear your Bugs Bunny underwear while you're trying to do it either. You will get caught. Reminder, good decisions, folks. Good decisions.
Just
Okay.
don't do it, and then you ain't got to worry about getting caught.
You're no fun. Okay. He had taken out multiple private loans. Employees' paychecks were bouncing. One of his office locations was being evicted for non payment of rent. And Tony had borrowed money from more than 20 different lenders, some of whom were suing him.
Ooh, yeah.
And yeah, he was in debt bad. And honestly, I don't think Megan had any idea. I don't think she knew about it at all. And Tony took full responsibility, telling investigators that no one else knew anything, that it was all him. He told the FBI that he would sit down with them on December 8th with his lawyer present and answer all their questions. So this is November 19th that they show up. And he says he's going to sit down with them on December 8th. I didn't think you could just walk away like that. Like,
Uh, I mean, you shouldn't be able to, but I mean, unless they're charging him with it, I guess you could take. do it when you want to, as long as it's within a time frame that they probably give you. Because I mean, it is for like money laundering type stuff, or I would,
Fraud.
yeah, fraud. Um, I would
Mhm.
say you don't just. It probably maybe it wasn't bad enough for him to go straight to jail, or he still had to wait on a court case. I
Yeah.
When it comes to stuff like that, I just don't know how it happens, but I just don't
Yeah.
understand why didn't he just sell one of his practices and like pay off his loans?
I don't know.
Like
Like, I
just
don't know. I don't know
you're
why these people do what they do.
no, you're literally, pushing yourself into the ground to the point that your health's
Yeah.
starting to, fade, and you got all this debt and all this stress. Why not just like get rid of one of the things that's causing it? If the one in Florida is the one you prefer, sell it and tell the family, hey, we got to move back to Connecticut. If the one in Connecticut's the one that's, not doing so well, sell it and stay in Florida.
Yeah. So, but meanwhile, he's telling his employees that everything's fine. Like, we're good. We're good,
Ain't,
Joe. Like, keep working.
ain't no
We're
employee in the
good.
world that's going to sit there and be like, oh, look, the FBI's coming in. Oh, they're looking at our records. We're fine.
Their paychecks are bouncing. Why does he still have employees? Like, I'm not working for free. I'm just
Oh,
telling you.
yeah, that's definitely not. I mean, if anybody in that situation would be like, yep, I better put some applications in because this place is going down.
Yeah, like I'm not like I love you, bro, and we're cool like that, but we're not cool like that. Like I've got to support my family.
I mean,
So
how often do you expect the FBI to walk into your job? Like anytime that
not
happens,
often.
yeah, not often. You should never expect them to walk
Never.
into your job.
Well, like,
Yeah, like
you
never.
never
If
know, but
well, yeah, you never know because a situation like what we're talking about can happen. But if the FBI walks in, you should be like, something is either about to happen
yeah.
or did happen, and you need to move on because it's over at that place.
So once the Totes moved to Florida, it seemed like they weren't as social as they had been back in Connecticut. They kept to themselves more, fewer friends, fewer community ties. And then came December 14th. This is the last confirmed sighting of the entire family together. Alec and Tyler had a piano recital, and everything appeared normal. Smiles, music, proud family moment. But it was after that everything changed. All communication started coming from directly from Tony. Text, updates, excuses. He told friends and family that Megan and the kids had the flu, that they were resting, but everything was fine. Chrissy, Tony's sister, she just wasn't buying it. She wasn't buying it. She was worried. She knew her brother and something felt off. Her concern grew even more when a neighbor mentioned seeing an eviction notice taped to the front door of the Todt home. So now they have an eviction notice on the house that they rented in celebration. Um, and on December 29th, 2019, Chrissy called the local police department, and asked for a wellness check. Officers went to the house but reported that nobody was home, no movement, no signs of life. Days passed, more silence, and more unanswered calls. Police were called again, this time on January 10th and 11th, and they checked both the rental house and the family's condo. Again, they reported no one home, no response, no activity. It was as if they just vanished. So I will say, they were known to travel, and of course the back and forth. So I can kind of understand where the police were coming from.
Yeah, but even if they'd have traveled for this many a days, you think they would have told somebody like, "Hey, we're going, here."
Right? Yeah, I agree. So if his sister is calling and saying, "Hey, I'm worried about them. Can you please go check on them? And she's in Connecticut and she's saying they're not here.
Yeah, and she's, saying that, "We talk regularly, like, why are they not answering me now? Can you just please go and check on them?" And they're doing these wellness checks. They're probably just going and knocking on the door and shining a flashlight in the window, and if they don't see anything, it's okay, they're just not home. But they're saying, "Well, there's nobody home, there's no signs of life." If there's bodies on the inside, they're not gonna show signs of life. And it's been days. I understand they just don't wanna kick down the door and, ha
Right.
the city have to pay for it or whatever. They're renting this place, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, because it was up for eviction. Well, I guess you could have a mortgage and you foreclose or whatever.
No, but they were renting the house. Yeah.
So the landlord probably has a key, and I'm pretty sure the landlord can let them into it if they thought there was an issue. At this point, you would think the cops would just open the door and go in and check just to make sure.
Hmm. So, but remember, he's still under investigation by the FBI. Obviously, he hasn't shown up. So on January 13th, three federal agents arrived in Celebration to locate him. Around 7:45 that morning, they spotted Tony standing on the front porch. They made a positive ID and immediately contacted the local sheriff's department for backup. Two deputies from the sheriff's department joined them, making 5 officers in total. Together, they approached the front door. No answer. But the door wasn't locked, so they stepped inside. They pushed the door open and they stepped inside. So, this is where it gets bad. Almost instantly, they were hit with the unmistakable smell of human decomposition. And then they see Tony Todt, mumbling, unsteady, stumbling down the stairs. To the point where, like, they had to help him down the stairs. He was, like, he was having trouble. The agent asked him, where's Megan? Where's your kids? Tony told them, oh, they're upstairs sleeping. He even called out for Megan, like, hey, Megan, company,
Like everything was fine.
yeah. Or, you know, she didn't appear. Of course she didn't appear. So a few of the agents stayed with Tony downstairs, and the rest went upstairs. Inside the master bedroom, the first thing they saw were feet sticking out from underneath the blanket, clearly decomposed. It was Megan. Nearby on a mattress on the floor were Alec and Tyler, wrapped in blankets and holding matching crucifixes. The family dog Breezy was also found in the room, dead. Zoe, oh my gosh, this is so terrible. Okay. Zoe, the youngest, was eventually discovered wrapped in blankets at her mother's feet. Because she was so small, her remains had deteriorated far more quickly, and she was almost overlooked at first. I can't imagine the scene that these officers, agents, whatever you want to call them, walked into.
No,
Um,
that had to be completely horrible.
yeah, I
Like,
don't
I
think that's,
I can't imagine, like, this, like you said, the scene, but also I wouldn't wanna imagine that because
yeah, no,
this is just terrible.
yeah. The family, it was obvious they had been gone for a while, possibly weeks. And during this time, Tony had been living inside the home with their bodies. Um, when the agents had him, he told them that he had taken a large amount of Benadryl in an attempt to end his own life. And Of course, he was taken to the hospital, and that's where he began to talk, began to confess. He was immediately put under arrest, of course. But once in custody, like often happens, his story began to shift. In one interview, he claimed that he and Megan had been planning this for months. He admitted to ending the boys' lives. He admitted to stabbing them and then said he had suffocated them. Uh, he said he couldn't remember every detail about Zoe, only that he had suffocated her as well. He then claimed that Megan had harmed herself before he suffocated her once she was unconscious. He said that she stabbed herself twice. And then took some Tylenol PM. And once she was asleep is when he suffocated her. According to Tony, he moved all the bodies into the master bedroom afterward so the family could be together. He also stated that when it came time to take his own life, he couldn't go through with it. It was even said that he chickened out. And so he says he can't remember, exactly when everything happened, when it all took place. But he did recall sitting in the house afterward watching college football. So,
I just don't
there's that.
understand how any father could harm their kids or their spouse. I just don't understand it. It makes me sick because like these are your kids and you done this to them. It makes no sense. I don't care how bad things are. There is
Yeah.
no need to have done this. No need. You just ended 4 lives total. That's 4 futures that they'll never have. They'll we don't know what type of people they would have grown up to be in. It's sickening.
So, I'm a mother, so maybe it's different for me. I don't know. But 6 kids. I have given birth to 6 children. And every child that I have, the urge to protect them and never let them come to harm is overwhelming. I mean, like you you literally want to mama bear them. Like just let not let the world hurt them, not let anything hurt them. How can you hurt them?
Yeah, I don't understand it. I'm
How?
with you. You have the urge to protect them no matter what. I'd fight a bear for, my kids. I'd lose, I'd
Mhm.
die, but I'd fight a bear if I had to. Like, I just don't understand how you could harm one of them. Like, to me, it makes no sense whatsoever on
No.
how someone could do this. And like I said, it makes me sick. Like, just
Yeah.
hearing the details of this, it's just, mm,
It's beyond heartbreaking.
yeah, it's
And this
beyond.
is this is one of the ones that while I was researching and getting everything together for this podcast, like I had to stop and just cried. I was so sad. I just can't wrap my brain around how you could do it. I can't. Um. So, autopsy results later confirmed that all 4 family members had been stabbed and had toxic levels of Benadryl in their system. There were no signs of suffocation, contradicting parts of Tony's confession. Photos taken after Tony's arrest also showed scratches and minor wounds on his body. Injuries investigators believe came from Alec, their oldest son, fighting back.
He had defensive wounds on his hands.
Yep. Yep. So, and I believe that. I believe that's probably pretty accurate. I believe
Mm,
Alec fought back.
I'd say you're probably right.
Alec had less Benadryl in his system, still toxic levels, but he had less than Tyler. So I believe that he drugged Alec first,
And it wasn't
and
enough. And
it wasn't enough. Alec
yeah,
fought back, so he gave Tyler more, so that wouldn't happen.
yeah, I'd say you're probably
Um,
right.
yeah. And inside that master bedroom, investigators found several items that painted a different picture of what really happened. Two hunting knives, a loaded gun, but it wasn't used. Uh, red nylon restraints, and cut zip ties around the room.
So
These,
he's tried to zip tie them and then cut them off.
I think he did.
Yeah,
I think he
that's what I mean.
restrained them.
Yeah, I think he
Yeah,
zip tied them up and then cut them off to make it look like it wasn't. They wasn't tied up.
yeah, exactly. And I think Megan played no part in this. I think she was restrained during, no matter what he says, because it's already been proven that he's a liar. So why would we believe anything he says? And the evidence isn't lining up with what he said, anyways. So I think she was restrained, and I think he killed, she didn't have any part in these murders. There was no plan. I think it was just him.
I'd say you're probably right. I would say that she probably did. I mean, in my opinion, I don't think she had anything to do with it. I think he took
Mm-hmm.
her life the same as the children, and he's just trying to not get that part blamed on him. But I mean, I would say they had evidence to say that it was him, that it wasn't her that did it.
Right.
Because you should be able to look at the way because he said she stabbed herself. You should be able to tell from like the angle of the blades and all that.
That's another thing. Said she stabbed herself and then took Tylenol PM.
Benadryl.
Once again, I'm no genius. But if I stabbed myself, I don't think there's enough Tylenol PM that's going to fix it to
I
where
thought
I
it
go
was
to sleep.
I thought it was Benadryl they took.
According to his story,
It was
she
Benadryl
took Tylenol
or Tylenol.
PM.
Yeah. Well, I
Yes.
mean, so like they should be able to tell from because like if someone's stabbing you, the blade goes in at a certain angle, and if you're stabbing yourself, it might be at a different angle.
Right.
But also, her fingerprints should have been on one of those knives. Like they should be
Yeah.
able to tell if she even handled it to begin with.
So Tony's trial was one of those cases where evidence spoke louder than anything he could say. From the moment he was arrested, his story kept shifting, blaming Megan, blaming illnesses, blaming stress, even claiming at one point that the entire family had made a pact. But every version of his story contradicted the last.
There's no amount of stress or whatever. All his excuses he came up with that gives you any justification for what he did, and that the whole family came up with this. Then why did one of your sons fight back? Like you had defensive wounds.
Real. Yeah.
That makes no sense whatsoever. Why would you need to drug them, then stab them? I mean,
If there was a
if
pact.
yeah, if it was a pact, you would think drugging, like they took medicine, they died from overdose. That's one thing. Well, why would you stab them? It makes no sense. It's like you try to tire them out, so it would be easier
Yeah.
to stab them. So like his whole story is just it don't make sense. He's just trying to get out a part of it, and no,
Mm.
individual is going to believe that story.
So, and when the case finally went to court, of course, prosecutors laid out the facts plainly: the autopsies, the Benadryl levels, the stab wounds, the restraints, the financial collapse, the weeks Tony lived in that house with the bodies. Um, Piece by piece, it became, you know, painfully clear. Tony's defense tried to argue that he was mentally unstable, that he wasn't in his right mind, that Megan had somehow been involved. But the physical evidence told a different story. And it pointed right at Tony as the sole person responsible.
Yeah, unless they have
Witnesses.
evidence that she
Mm-hmm.
was, any part of it, then there's like you can't even bring her into that. If they wanted to say that she had part in, they needed to bring physical evidence that showed she was part of it. If you don't have that, then you've got nothing. It's all on him.
Yeah. So when the verdict came down, the jury didn't hesitate. Tony Todt was found guilty on all accounts: 4 counts of murder and 1 count of animal cruelty. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Even after sentencing, Tony continued to insist he was innocent, still trying to shift the blame onto Megan, still refusing to take responsibility. But the court and the evidence made it clear this was Tony. I'm not going to say alleged because he's already been convicted. This was Tony. Um, I This man's sick. I don't. There's no way to sugarcoat it. There's no way to skip around it. This is one sick piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's no justification for it. Like I said, I don't understand it. I could never hurt my children. I could never hurt you. And as much as our little ankle biter bugs me to death, talking about the dog, not one of our kids, by the way.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah. No, we have a little corgi, and she spends the entire day just barking at me because she just wants to talk. It's not really barking, she just talks, but it's always grouchy towards me. As much as she does that, I couldn't harm a hair on that little thing's head. So I don't understand like how he could have done this. Why? There's no reason. If you're not happy, I said this on other episodes. I'll probably say it on 50 more episodes. Get a divorce. Let your wife have custody of the kids. He couldn't pay, child support because he's probably going to go to jail. Even before the murder, he was probably going to go for fraud. But I mean, it makes no sense. Like, there's always a different choice that you could make.
Always,
Yeah,
always.
don't make that wrong choice. There's another choice that
Yeah.
can be made, and that choice, you know, is would have led to, well, I said 4 people earlier, technically 5 because I forgot about the dog, but that's 5
Mm,
lives that you ended for no reason whatsoever. Like, there was no reason for you to take their lives. If you were
right.
that unhappy, you should have left.
There's, yeah, yeah. There's no. Like I said, my brain just cannot process how you get to that point.
No,
It doesn't wrap around.
no, this is
But
one of the sad cases. Like, I know all
yeah,
of our cases are going to be, none of them are going to have happy endings. At least I don't think they will. And
maybe
this,
I'll surprise you
I highly doubt
with
it.
a happy ending. Um, but
Well,
before,
hold on now. That's not a YouTube thing. Uh,
yeah,
but um,
wait, not like that.
Yeah, you're over here talking about stuff that's not YouTube. Mm-mm, just
No,
this.
no.
But it's one of them sad stories that I wish never happened. I wish we didn't have to talk about it or didn't, get to talk about it because I wish it never happened. But it is. It makes it worse because all these stories are sad to me. But when it's children,
Yeah.
it really hits hard.
So before before we end the episode tonight, I do want to take a minute to talk about the kids, not about what happened to them, because we don't want to remember them that way, but about who they were, because they deserve to be remembered for their lives, not just their deaths. Um, and they are truly innocent victims. Alec was 13. He was a serious type, thoughtful, an old soul in a young body. He was a gifted musician. He was already skilled on the piano and was just beginning to learn the violin. He loved history, especially books about World War One. He was the kind of kid who dove deep into things he cared about. Tyler was 11. He was the comedian of the family, the silly one, the fun one, the kid who could make anyone laugh and tried to make you laugh. He excelled in math. He played the piano too, but his real gift was bringing joy to a room. He just had that spark. And then there was Zoe, just 4 years old, a true little princess. She couldn't wait to be old enough for piano lessons, just like her big brothers. She loved to sing. She loved to dance. She had a head full of golden curls that matched her bright personality. People said she was a little mommy, always trying to take care of everyone around her. She was tiny, but she ran the house. These were three vibrant, beautiful children with their own personalities, with their own talents, their own futures ahead of them. And I believe that that's definitely how they should be remembered.
I agree. I'm glad you told us a little bit about them.
Yeah, it should definitely be about them. And we should definitely remember who they were. Well, that is it for tonight, everyone. So don't forget to like and share and subscribe. Hit the notification button so you'll be notified when a new episode's out. And we will see you next time.
Yep, we'll see everybody for episode 4.